All right. Hello. Welcome to another video in our ongoing series called College Algebra. Today we're going to talk about quadratic functions. Okay. So quadratic functions are any functions of the form y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. This is actually what we call the standard form. As opposed to the general form, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, let's start with just a simple. We've actually been dealing with things like this, so we can start with, let's just start by graphing. Y equals 2 times x plus 3 squared minus 6. Okay, and so as we may remember, we would move to the left by 3 and down by 6. Now, one thing that I do is I think it's a good idea to graph 3 different points, okay? So when we're looking here, for example, in our standard form, sorry about that. Let me not do that. Let me instead write the vertex here is given by h comma k. All right, so that's the vertex. And here, I'll explain it later, but here the vertex, even though there's a y coordinate, I only give you the x coordinate, is given by x equals negative b over 2a. All right, the y coordinate, there is an equation for it, but it's just not worth memorizing. Okay, so we're going to graph the vertex, negative 3 comma 6, or I'm sorry, negative 3 comma negative 6. And then I find it useful, and by I find it useful, I'm telling you that you'll find it useful, to graph 2 more points, okay? So the points that I'm going to pick is I see here that at negative 3, that's the sort of center, or maybe a line of symmetry. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to graph 2 points that are 1 away from negative 3 in the x only. So I'm going to also pick, these are easy to use, choose x equals negative 2 and x equals negative 4. Let me give myself a little bit more space here. Because if I plug either one of those into the equation, watch what happens. If I plug negative 2 in, I'm going to have negative 1 here, right? Negative 2 plus 3 is negative 1. Squared is 1. So 2 minus 6 is going to be negative 4. Okay, let me actually just go ahead and write that out. Okay, that's one of them. Same thing's I'm gonna get the same value when I plug in x equals negative 4. Okay, if I plug in x equals negative 4, watch what happens. 2 times negative 4 plus 3 squared minus 6. Okay, now negative 4 plus 3, that's going to give me negative Ah, that's the -1. This one is positive. Ah! Okay, that one was +1. This one's going to be 2 times -1 squared minus 6. Okay, so that's -4 as well. So now I have another couple of points. I can graph -2 comma -4 and -4 comma -4 are both on the graph. Okay, so -2 comma 4, -4 comma 4. Okay, and I don't need to know anything else because the MyLabs Plus just needs those 3 points for you to graph it. Okay, so see what's next. Okay, start with it. Let's do another problem. Oof, made those way too small. We'll fix that on the PDF. Okay, next problem is find A if y equals ax squared and 3 comma -18 is on the graph. Okay, now this problem, actually traditionally I wouldn't graph it. I would just go ahead and do it. But since I have a little more time to deal with things, I can graph this. So let's just graph it. It's going to give us a better idea of what's going on. So y equals ax squared. So what this tells you is that it is a parabola that just goes through the center at its origin. So the origin is its center. But now it goes through the point 3 comma -18. Let's make these each -2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is -18. So we've got this point. Okay, so our parabola actually goes down. We'd expect it to look like so. Okay. And this will help us to determine if at least if our solution should be consistent with that. We expect that A will be less than 0. So let's go ahead and solve this. What we're going to use is we're going to use this point in this equation, right? So the 3 is our x, and the -18 is our y. Okay, so -18 equals 9a. A then equals -2. Is that consistent with a parabola facing down? It sure is. So we get the equation y equals -2 x squared. Okay. We were just asked to find A, so I didn't need to write that down. All right. Next problem is very similar. Problem's going to be find the equation. We're going to do this in standard form. Okay. For a parabola, should I say parabola? I don't know. I don't like it. I like parabola better, or parabola, whatever. Okay. With vertex 2 comma negative 3, and through the point, 4 comma 5. Okay, so again, let's start by just graphing. This is, again, not really a necessary step, but it's a nice step to take, particularly if you have time, which most of us have time right now. Maybe not. If you don't have time, I'm sorry, I don't mean to point you out. I don't even know you yet, so I'm not doing it on purpose. So there's our vertex, 2 comma negative 3. And then 4 comma 5 is up here. Okay, let me change those to blue. So we expect our parabola is going to look something like so. So we have an expectation that a is going to be at least a bit greater than 0, right? So let's start by solving. Let's solve. We start with y equals sum a times x minus h squared plus k. But now our vertex is at 2 comma negative 3. So the 2 goes in for h, and the negative 3 goes in for k. So y equals a times x minus 2 squared minus 3. All right? Now, we're going to use this point 4 comma 5 for x and y here. All right? So 5 equals a times 4 minus 2 squared minus 3. And now we're just going to solve for a. 5 equals 4a minus 3. 8 equals 4a. So a equals 2. So the equation of the parabola is going to be, let me write it out completely, y equals 2 times x minus 2 squared minus 3. Okay? All right, that's good enough for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video, or you'll see me in the next video, rather.